Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about the season finale of The Walking Dead Season 7. I had a lot of fun, but it's sad that it's over. This season went by quick. I mean, quick. And, come on, we all know there was a lot of complaints as far as with the fan base. And usually when something gets a lot of complaints or people aren't happy, usually it goes by slow, right? But even though there was complaints, I think even people that were primarily dissatisfied, it still went by fast, or at least it seems like. I'm sad that it's ended too. I know Fear the Walking Dead's coming back. I don't like that half as much, but The Walking Dead will be coming back for All Out War this October, and that is fantastic. I am so hyped for season 8. It's unbelievable. This is a chance. I know a lot of people are talking about The Walking Dead going on for all these seasons, and realistically, it can definitely hit 12 seasons. Easy. It can definitely hit that. At that point, you can argue that we might start seeing some of the cast who've been there for a while start breaking off and doing other things. That we'll talk about that in another video because, with a career in acting, man, you either make it and you're out there and you're doing your thing, or you might want to stay on The Walking Dead, especially when it's this hot. Even when it falls, even when it loses some millions of viewers, it's still kicking ass. It still has a loyal fan base, and that fan base, they're going to go to the Comic-Con conventions 20 years down the road when you're not acting anymore. The fans from The Walking Dead, and then the new fans who started watching because their parents were watching, whoop-de-whoop, they're going to the conventions and they're going to support you there. You know what I mean? So it makes so much sense in my eyes for the long term of your career, like in the long run. Anyway, let's talk right about this. Let's jump right in about the episode because I loved it. I think I have just a couple complaints, but it's minor things like the Michonne fight. We'll get into that, but first thing I want to say is a lot of people messaged me about having a lineup at the end of the season. This is something I talked about at the end of season 6. When season 6 ended, I said, they should end season 7 in a lineup. Now, to be fair, I was talking about a real lineup with multiple cast members, not just Rick and Carl, but I ended up liking that dynamic and what they decided to do there. And I'm real curious to see what would have transpired if the friggin' tiger didn't come. They brought the tiger into it. That was a hell of a way to bring the tiger into it. I'll admit, at that moment, I was sitting there thinking, listen, I know someone's going to show up. It's either Maggie or the Kingdom, but how are they going to do it? And I honestly wasn't thinking they were going to bring the tiger in. I knew the tiger was coming, but I thought they were going to put it in the background. And they had the tiger jumping a couple different times, like at least 2, I think. There might have been 3, but at least 2. 3 times on film because he was eating that guy's face after he tackled him, which I think they did good. You guys let me know what you think about the CGI. I think they gave us a crap CGI deer so they can give us a kick-ass tiger. I like the tiger. You can slam me all you want, but I like the tiger. Anyway, so the season 6 prediction was it was primarily about joking because of the fan base being so mad at the cliffhanger. But if you, on a serious note, because I was also being serious about it, it fits the structure of this because right at that moment you have that back. It's not so black and white where the survivors are like, oh, we're not putting up with the shit anymore. The saviors come up and there's an immediate gunfight. You know what I mean? Look how drawn out that was. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Look at how that scene played out from beginning to end when the saviors got there. There was more to it than a simple gunfight being like, oh, we're not going to sit around and let you rule us anymore, whoop-de-whoop. They had a lot going on. And speaking about drawing it out, we have Sasha in the coffin, and I love the fact that we got an Abraham kind of paying homage to him, but we also got paying homage to Glenn in a big way, I feel, at the very end. And all throughout the episode, Sasha in the coffin, using that to transition between different things going on, it reminded me a lot of the season 6 finale where you have just the point of view of whoever's in the van, and they were using that in between shots, like in between the transitions. They were showing a little bit. They had a little bit of voices you can hear in the background. So I really liked how that reminded me a lot of the season 6 finale. Now, Daryl and Dwight. This is something that I love this conversation. I love talking about these two characters on this channel because the fan base gets so involved. I know when I talk about Daryl being smart enough not to kill Dwight, that is definitely intelligence right there. You need to be able to put your rage aside, just wanting to kill this person. Put that aside for now. Get the job done. And I know, well, no, I don't know. I was surprised how much backlash, not bad backlash, but I was shocked, stupid, how many people were just like, no, Daryl should not do that. Daryl would never do that. Daryl's going to straight kill Dwight. And look at what happens. He did exactly what his character should have done. And that's what I was talking about, where Daryl said, you know what, Rick? I'm gonna let him live because I think he might be a valuable tool. But when this is done, I don't care how sorry he is. I'm gonna kill him. That is what I was talking about, and they played it perfectly. For that character, it fits Daryl because he's smart, he's clever, he has a lot of like street smarts and common sense. But at the end of the day, man, listen, he does not like you. You're going down. Now we get Jadis, a little comedic scene I wrote down that I really liked, where she told Michonne, he with you, I lay with him after, and it's all right. Since the betrayal happened, I kind of think that was just testing these people and just clowning around, like having fun with it. So we do see they have this kind of a sense of humor because the character turned around, and I partially think that was their attempt at breaking the fourth wall without breaking the fourth wall, because she turns around and she's looking at her own people, but she's really looking at us. You know what I mean? She's really looking at the people who are the fan base attracted to Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes. I think so anyway. I think that they threw that in there and filmed it like that for that reason. So Eugene and them show up. Eugene and Negan and Sasha in the casket. They show up, and I love how we have that minute. And then Rick is like, you know what? No, blow him up. Just do it. You know, he made his choice. Blow him up. And I really wanted to see him blow up. For a second there, I thought they were going to blow him up. And he would survive, obviously. But I thought they were going to blow him up. And that betrayal was awesome. And I know a few of us saw it coming. And that was a matter of eliminating who else it could be. And there's really no one else. Gregory left, and he obviously in this episode didn't make it to Simon, or at least we didn't see that. If he did, it was cut out, or they're going to push that into season 8. I will believe that. I think they're going to push that into season 8, but it was just a matter of elimination because there's no one else around that could be the snitch. Eugene didn't know, Gregory didn't make it, or at least we didn't see it. The timeline wouldn't match up. But Jadis, a lot of fans messaged me after I made that video talking about how Jadis is on the top of the list. I don't have any other suspects. A lot of fans sent me some really smart information that I just didn't even pick up on. The fact that they don't have guns, or they have very little guns. Matter of fact, thinking about it now, I think they only had a couple. You know what I mean? When they first ambushed the survivors, and a lot of fans said, hey, you know what? I think Rick and them showed up and took their guns. Now, I did miss 2 parts of dialogue that you guys are going to have to fill in for me. Jadis did tell Rick something. The dog barked right when she was talking, and then the dog barked right when neighbors were stomping around, but right when Negan first saw that Maggie's still alive. So I missed what he said, so I got to go back and watch that again. No problem, because I definitely want to watch this again. But Jadis, when she told Rick what the deal was, I missed that. I heard her and Negan talking later, and I love how he stood her down. He was like, I'm not saying yes, bitch. Just say yes. Stop playing this game. And Jadis is like, yeah, fine. 10 is good. And it sounded like they were trading people. Negan's giving them people so they can grow their community some. But from what Jadis said, I got the impression that the Saviors came after. So the Saviors weren't the ones that actually took their guns. You guys let me know now down in the comments. I'll go back and rewatch it because a lot of fans messaged me saying that Negan and the Saviors took their guns. That's why they had very little, and that's why they were telling Rick they wanted the guns, which at first I messaged a couple of you guys. I said, well, how does that fit up? Because if they're going to betray him, why do they want the guns in order to do that? Because Negan will just take the guns back off of them and yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to have to look into that. But, all right, so the betrayal happens. And then you got Carl, and this is the shit they need to do more and more with Carl. Now, I am all for younger actors always honing their skill, always honing their craft, and I encourage all young actors to just keep going. I don't care if you're in The Walking Dead and it's so huge and the fan base loves you no matter what you do. No, because when you get older and older, you're going to regret that. You might end up being, 30, 40 years old, looking back and being like, man, I was the hot shit back then, but I'm embarrassed at my performance back then. I didn't take it serious because, and that shit happens. So you're in a, and a lot of people can relate to that, where you're in a situation where it's on fire and then you kind of skate by, and then later you look at it on fire, not literally on fire, but you know what I mean. And then you look at it later on, you're like, man, I could have done better. I rode that wave, but I really could have done better. This is the shit they need to do with Carl's character. Carl turned around and he didn't just pop one guy. I think he got like 3 guys right in a row. He just laid them out. Some beast mode shit. Michonne versus the chick, since we're talking about fighting here. Yeah, I talked to you guys about her fighting a dude, and once they showed her fighting a chick, I was like, oh, this is kind of lame. Now, I do have one little nitpick. Now, I love it. They did what we talked about. You beat the character's ass, and then we love them even more. The one nitpick is they didn't show the ass whooping. They cut away for it, and then they cut back to it, and she's all messed up. I think that was the wrong thing to do. If they filmed it like that, if they edited it like that, if you have the material, put that back into it and then release it on the Blu-ray. If they edited it out, I know we talk a lot about them, even though they say they don't censor things, there's some stuff that just looks censored. It just does. There's no way around it. If this is one of those moments, I don't care. I'm not mad. Just put it back into the show and then release it on the Blu-ray. What I mean by that is it was, oh, you know what? Let me say this before I forget. At first, I was disappointed it wasn't a big dude, and it wasn't this huge, epic mountain of an obstacle from Michonne to just fist fight, get her ass whooped. I wanted it extremely difficult, like a beast of a dude, and it took every ounce in her to defeat the guy. However, once the girl fell and you see Rick and you hear the scream, it was at that point that I get what they're going for here. You need that person. You could film it in order for the audience to know, and then you see her as Michonne, and she screams like a woman, as she throws the guy over. And then from Rick's perspective, he hears her screaming as she's pushing him over. You know what I mean? But we as the audience will see that. So the way they wanted to film it, you needed it to be a girl on girl. You know what I mean? A fight. We always need it to be girl on girl. But you need it to be that girl on girl fight in order to get that scream and kind of do a little slight fake out on the audience. Now, it's not a big one for the audience. It's more for the character of Rick Grimes, and you could say it's kind of like a fake out for the audience, but I don't think a lot of audience thought that was. I think one of those moments, it's not a complete fake out. It's kind of like oh my God, did they really do that? Obviously, I read the comic. A lot of comic fans knew that exact scene was coming, and that's fine. I love that they did that. So I feel like sometimes I got to defend some of the fake out things, because ever since Glenn's dumpster stuff, a lot of people just really trashed the fake out moments, and I don't think all of them should be trashed. There's some really great ones out there. Glenn's one, I still support that shit to this day, because it was perfect for what it did. It was absolutely perfect. Now, her fight, again, great. The only little nitpick is we should have saw the fists hitting face. We should have saw every little ounce of it. Every single bit of that fight. I think we saw a little bit of her get her head smashed on the ground once, and a punch or two, and that was it. That was my only nitpick out of this whole episode, I think. Other than that, I really enjoyed it. Now, Rick kneeling down, I thought that was great. I love that. You have the beginning of the season, Rick is kneeling, and he's like, I'm going to kill you. And then at the end of the season, this is comic book Rick Grimes. Now, I know Rick Grimes in the comic, I say this all the time. Rick Grimes in the comic and the TV show, they look different. They act extremely different. They are two different characters. You know what I mean? Completely different characters. They do a lot of similar stuff. They have a similar character, but they're very different in so many different ways. season, at the beginning of the season, that was nothing like comic book Rick. But this right here, and I'm not saying they need to do it, don't get me wrong, I'm just excited because this is the perfect embodiment of comic book Rick, where Negan kneels down and Rick is like, you can do it right now, I don't care what you do, I'm coming for you, I will kill you, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. And I love how he repeated that line, oh man. And then Negan just looked pissed, and then he laughed it off because he won technically, and in his eyes at that moment he's winning, so whatever. And again, I'm real curious to see what they would have done. Would Negan really have killed Carl? Because this is something they hinted towards in the comic book, that Negan wanted to kill Carl, but they never went down that road, obviously, because they never gave Carl up to the saviors at that standoff. Now, I like that. I like the way they remixed that. Now, if you do not follow the comic, but now that this is over and you don't care about spoilers from the comic book, obviously, since it's over, I'll put this in here later this week. I got a video that will cover the comic book material that we already did in the show material. I'm trying to piece it together in a fun, different sort of way, so keep an eye out for that. But that is comic book Rick. He was like, fuck. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But then they brought in the tiger. And like I said before, this is not something I thought they were going to do. I thought they would shy away from the CGI as much as possible, but they didn't, and I'm fine with it. I'll tell you right now, maybe it was my TV. I know the, the image we get, it's a high-def channel. I mean, I have a slamming TV. I have good service, or at least I'm supposed to, but it always looks shittier on TV when I watch it live. Then later when I buy it on Amazon, it looks different. Like on TV, the deer looked, ugh. Then on Amazon, it was like, oh, God, that's what it looks like? So there is a difference. So maybe the tiger didn't look all that great, but I'm fine with it. I'll tell you right now, I'm fine with it. I watch Amazon tomorrow, and I'm like, ugh. Take that back, Ronnie. Now, Negan sees Maggie, and I will add another nitpick in here. That just didn't live up to the hype that I had. I wanted something there. I wanted just something, you know what I mean? I wanted a moment, and I could have missed it because, like I said, the dog barked. But I think he yelled over to Simon, like, did you know about this? How did we not know about this? But he said something, and I totally missed it. So I'm going to go back and rewatch that. You guys can let me know down in the comment box. Now, I already know some comic fans are going to complain, I feel, about the Negan speech, let's go to war, because in the comic book it was epic. It was like, we are the big swinging dicks in the world, and the saviors just didn't know what the hell he was talking about because he was on his little rant, and he's like, oh my God, we're going to war, guys. And I think they kept it simple, because they have a habit of, they'll take a moment like that, they will simplify it because they want to highlight the speech and paying homage to Glenn as a character. And I thought that was great. We'll get to that in a second, but they wanted to highlight that. You know what I mean? They don't want to take away with this big Negan speech. And they have a habit of taking that moment and remixing it into season 8, where they're getting ready and they're loading up to go fight at some point in time. And Negan has this speech to his guys, and then he'll stop and be like, see what I mean? So if you are a comic fan and you're disappointed they didn't do that moment, because the Negan speeches, they're held up as the words are escaping me right now, but they're important to comic fans. So just hold on, wait till season 8. I have a feeling we will get some type of remix of that speech. One thing I want to bring up before I forget real quick, they had Maggie and Sasha looking at the sunset. When we first saw that, I was like, oh man, are they trying to recreate the scene from season 7? Season 5. Remember where Aaron shows up? That's when Sasha just lost Tyrese. That's when Maggie just lost Beth. And there was that storm. They sat out on the thing, and Sasha's like, why are we here? And Maggie's like, for that. I'm almost positive they were recreating that, but they left her hair cut. So that got me thinking that was some kind of moment like the picnic, the table. Remember, episode 1, they had that table where with all the characters and the 2 characters that died. I flubbed that. But the dinner scene, what were they doing? I still don't know. I feel like I got to go back and rewatch it, because here's the thing. That could be a moment that we just never saw. A new moment that looked just like the old moment. but it looks so like she had a dirty shirt. It just looks so much like they were recreating that. Sasha had that vest on. You guys let me know. And speaking of the chicks and the vests and whatever, they put these chicks in some seriously cool outfits, man. Maggie, there was a couple times she had some cool shit on. Sasha, cool shit. And Michonne, they put her in some cool shit. I think we need some kind of ladies pack of collectibles. I don't care if it's statues or figures. Collectors don't know what I mean. But yeah, they put them in some cool outfits. We need to get some shit like that. But if you know what that scenery scene was all about, and the thing throwing me off is the hair, because if it wasn't cut, if they just left it long and recreated season 5, I would have been like, yeah, it's season 5, you know? They're calling back to that moment. But now I kind of feel like that was maybe Sasha's death moment. Like that's what she's thinking of as she's dying, like the Abraham stuff. And then this moment. Anyway, at the end, we get the conclusion that Scott Gimple was talking about. I freaking love this conclusion. I never really put certain shirts on when I do this video, like specifically. I just make sure there's no pizza stains. But I put this Glenn shirt on, and on the bottom it says, "Hey dumbass." They have another one. It's a company called The Walking Fans. I'll put a link down below. They sent me this shirt as a gift in the map mail, and the one says, "I'll miss you," and this one says, "Hey dumbass." And I had to put this on in memory of Glenn because I think they did a great job. And as far as paying tribute to the character, but making it realistic. This is a part of the writing that maybe not a lot of people will take notice of. They might like it, but for me, someone who is interested in writing, and I want to write scripts and get them made and all that, that was a sweet moment for me. That was a moment where I'm like, I love that. I love that so much, because they take something that pays tribute to the character, but in their real lives as characters, as these people, as Glenn, as Maggie, they're talking about something that is so realistic. This started with you and Glenn. This started with you being trapped, Glenn saving you. And from that moment on, it grew from there. That is something that's so real in that world. It's just so real and organic. And they were able to utilize that like a double-edged sword of awesome writing. They used that in the story for that realism. They used that in the story for the characters to motivate them to conclude, this story and kick us off into war. And they also used it to pay tribute to a fallen character and cast member. Fuck yes, that was some good writing. Those moments, I think those moments are the moments that more people overlook because it's a sweet moment, but then when you really look at it, at what they're doing, oh yeah, that's the stuff I like. Anyway, especially because I love a lot of it, but especially that's the stuff I like. You know what? We're already 20 minutes long. We are going to return to this topic, but we're going to talk about this season. The next video will be tomorrow around noon. We're going to review a Predator. You probably don't care about that, but it's a toy. It's a Predator action figure. I love the creature design, and there's a reason. There's a reason. At the end of the summer, going into winter, we're going to do something on this channel with the Predator. And down the line, I have something else big planned, so we're starting small. I won't bore you to death. If you're interested, that'll be up at noon. And then after that, tomorrow night, close to midnight, maybe early if I get it done early, we're going to do a discussion on my 3 favorite episodes out of this season. I got to go back and watch a couple more. That's what I've been doing. I know a lot of people said, Ronnie, you weren't posting mad videos up into the finale because we had too much. Listen, I made this mistake for the Negan introduction. We did videos to that to death, and there was so much from the comic. They made it so similar to the comic, and there was people reading spoilers coming to the comments section saying, hey, Ronnie, what if this happened? We did that, and it ruined it. It spilled everything out in the open. So for this episode, I knew it was coming. I knew 100%. I knew that they were going to have the second lineup. And we did briefly talk about some of this stuff because anything I predicted in season 6, like the second lineup, I predicted that shit at the end of season 6. They didn't even start writing the script for season 7, so I'm not going to not talk about it. I predicted that so long ago, I'm not talking about it. So I just didn't go in deep and talk all this week and start going into, because I just feel like that would have ruined the moment. So if you guys, if that helped at all on this channel, let me know if that helped at all. But what I was doing, though, is going back, rewatching, and revisiting some of the episodes, so that way I can give you some video discussing why, some opinions about why these are my top 3. And then if you guys want, I'll pick the top 3 worst episodes myself, not like what the internet picked. These are my personal favorites. I was gonna do a best of and worst of The Walking Dead. Right now I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for my own stuff, because so many people were like, yo, that's cool, but what do you like? And I was gonna do that anyway, but I want to go back and rewatch the episodes. I don't want to just say, I remember that. I like that a lot. No, so bear with me. Give me some time. I'm going back and I'm rewatching them, and I will come back and do. If you guys want to know my favorite episodes throughout the seasons, as I'm going back rewatching them, I will make my top, how many episodes out of season 1, season 2. If that's something you guys want, I'll spread it out, and that'll give me enough time, and I'll do it all the way up until season 8. You guys let me know opinions, suggestions for certain videos that we haven't said that is coming. So keep an eye out for that. I think I got off track, but yeah, Predator review for a figure coming at noon-ish tomorrow. I'm on the East Coast in the United States, so wherever you're at, figure out that time zone thing. Predator at noon, and then later that day, I'll try to separate it 12 hours around midnight. I'm going to do my top 3 favorite episodes for season 7, and then I'll let you know what's coming later. Noon the next day, I already know will be another Predator figure. That's leading into something. So if you're thinking like, oh, what's that all about? It's leading into something. Anyway, I feel like I'm missing something, but we got a lot more coming. If you're new here, subscribe. We're not done. Just because The Walking Dead is taking a break, we are not done. We got a lot of Walking Dead stuff. We're going to, maybe not a lot. Hold on. When they start releasing more info, we're going to cover that a lot. And I'm going to start this thing where every Wednesday, once news starts spilling out, we're going to have Walker Withdrawal Wednesdays. And I might start it this friggin' week, where we just sit down and talk about The Walking Dead. You guys let me know. You want to do a half an hour? I'll call it a podcast, but in 2 months when I move, we're going to be doing the live. And I'm moving strictly to upgrade on this channel. We're going to I keep rambling. I'm going to talk another half an hour. But you guys let me know thoughts and opinions down below, and I will see you again here tomorrow for some more Walking Dead discussions. And then this week, we'll kick off the very first. Yeah, we'll do it this week. Walking Walker Withdrawal. There's too many W's. Walker Withdrawal Wednesday, this Wednesday, later at nighttime. Anyway, thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. Awesome episode. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.